Peace, family. Vie Darling, the Cosmic Queen, and your intergalactic interpreter. And we are talking about what you need to know about this time period. When I was sitting in meditation, and you know what? Y'all really liked the meditation before, so I'm just gonna bring us all to this space together right now. I'm gonna take a deep inhalation. We're going to start by just breathing in and getting conscious of our breath without trying to change it, and just follow me while I lead us in. You know, it's good to question, like, how deep are you breathing? If you're breathing very shallow, what's keeping you from being present in your body? Because that is what that is indicative of. Where's your breath going? How much of your breath is going there? These are things you want to think about. I'm going to invite you to just take a couple deep breaths to start. Inhale. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. And the pausing at the top is what allows us to clear our minds, to reset. 1 for 4 on the timer to reset and really tune in and tap in. So we're going to inhale all the way in until we can't inhale anymore. Hold at the top until we feel ready to express. Exhale, and then exhale all the way out. And we're going to do that a few more times, so say 3 more times, just to really clear the space. All right, and just gonna let our deep breaths, you don't have to think so hard anymore, but just let them overflow your body. Fill your vessel up and exhale that light out. Because when we came in, I definitely felt like there was a bit of a frenzied, chaotic kind of vibe. And we just want to slow down a little bit, take a minute to slow down. So I am going to make a note at 4 minutes. That's when we get to the reading. For those who are not interested in slowing down, though those are the folks who need it the most, right? But what happened when I first tuned in was that I was told, you might be someone who right now you feel like you're dying, you feel like you're just like in grave danger. And this might sound like a lot, but it's not actually. When we are survivors of trauma, and this is a safe space this is a trauma-informed space, so it's a safe space for us to talk about trauma and other stigmatized topics in a solutions-oriented way. So that's what we're going to do. But when when we experience trauma, sometimes things that seem super normal to other people feel life or death to us, because it genuinely feels like our survival is based on continuing the cycle of trauma by continuing to do whatever our coping mechanisms back then were. But if we're no longer in that situation and we have autonomy and we have agency, we don't need to continue feeding into those cycles and those circuits, because that's just going to keep attracting that kind of energy to us. What we want to do is we want to shift gears and shift our actions. So for instance, if you would, experience really intense retribution for talking back, it could have just been advocating for yourself. It could have just been, contributing information that seemed to be missing to correct misconceptions about a situation. But if you experienced very extreme and unjust punishment for doing that, you may have learned to not directly communicate information that seemed necessary to keep you from experiencing the consequences of whatever's going on. And if this is the case, getting into situations where, you don't have to be afraid of that happening, and learning how to just directly speak your truth instead of trying to manipulate or hiding information or just staying quiet when you need to speak up for yourself. It can feel like a life or death situation to just say, hey, actually, this is what happened, or to simply advocate for yourself. And I am here to tell you, I totally see you and I totally understand. That's how trauma affects the mind. That's how trauma affects the body. But guess what? You are strong enough and you are powerful enough to shift 707 on the timer, to shift your actions and therefore shift your timeline. Being able to get to that point where you're no longer afraid to tell the truth, to speak up, to do the opposite action of whatever your maladaptive coping mechanism was, requires a lot of help. It requires a lot of support, and it requires a lot of practice. But I guarantee you that it is worth it, because that is how we get free from the chains that bind, from these karmic cycles. Okay, and so if you are in a space right now where you are feeling like, this tremendous pressure and this impending doom, you're not alone. A lot of people are experiencing this right now. A lot of what's going on, if you're somebody who you've been experiencing a lot of spiritual warfare, I can tell you why. It's not it's not necessarily that people are targeting you specifically, but they could be targeting your collective, okay? And, staying strong in the face of such abuse, because that's what it is. It's spiritual abuse. Staying strong, staying in your integrity, standing your ground in the face of this adversity is exhausting. And it might feel like you're not going to be able to make it to the other side of these attacks and these onslaughts, that you're not going to make it to paradise, that you're not going to make it to salvation. But, I'm telling you that you can. I'm telling you that you can if you're willing to. So the name of this live, as I said, it's you're not being punished. You didn't do anything wrong. And I know that sometimes when we keep experiencing adversarial situations, it can feel like, what did I do to deserve this? Because our brain is just 909 on the timer. Our brain is just trying to figure it out so that we can do something different, so that we can change the situation. But like I said, this is not your fault. You're not being punished for anything. This is the way of the world, unfortunately. And I want to find out, for those of us who are, feeling stuck, feeling stagnant, feeling like no matter what we do, it's not having the immediate results that we are looking for. I made a TikTok about this earlier today, saying that, like, we might know that we are a master co-creator of our universe. But for some reason, we're doing all of the things, but we're not getting the results that we are looking for back. And the reason why we're not getting those results back is, like I've said before, some of us are creations that we're manifesting are of a certain frequency, that it's not that we ourselves are not in alignment with that frequency. Like, we are the conduit for that frequency. And it's a matter of the material world getting to a place where it can manifest that frequency in the material. 1023 on the timer. And so that is the process that we've been in lately. So don't fret. You're not incapable of doing of co-creating. You're not incapable of manifesting. It's not because you're doing something wrong. And I get the sense that a lot of you are feeling like, oh, it's because somebody is like sending baneful magics at me. And while that may be true for some situations right now, what I'm picking up is that is not the case right now. It is simply but a matter of time. Yesterday I was on the phone with somebody and I had to let them know, like, nobody said that incarnating at the shifting of the ages was going to be easy. And if they did, they lied. 1111. So if you manifested here, if you incarnated here at this time with a mission and with a purpose, you're here for a reason. And thank you. Yes, you're here for a reason. And it's not by mistake. You are not going to be, you're not alone, and you're not going to fail this mission. The only way that you can fail is if you give up. 1144 on the timer. The only way that you can fail is if you give up. If you think that the pushback that you are experiencing, the tension that you are experiencing, the discomfort that you are experiencing is indicative of you not effectively doing your job, that's just simply not the case. And you came here at this time to help usher in this changing of the guard. And, there are those who are in power who their time is up and they simply don't want to leave. They simply don't want to go. And they're going to have to. But there is this resistance that is happening. And unfortunately, we are the ones who have to deal with it. So the first card that I get from the Crystal Stone deck is Ametrine. Make your big dreams your big life. So what I want to say is that some folks, you are... you're not allowing yourself to dream big because you are telling yourself that you have to, be practical, and that you don't want to get your hopes up because you don't want to get them dashed, and you don't want to hurt, and you don't want to feel pain, and you don't want to be experience discomfort. But the reality of the situation is you're going to experience those feelings of disappointment and pain and discomfort. 1313 on the timer, regardless. Because the hope is still there, whether or not you choose to focus on it. You and I both know that you feel it in your bones, you feel it in your heart, it's in the back of your mind, like eating you up a little bit, because the hope is still there. Because you know what is for you. You know that it's not just a hope, it's not just a dream or a goal, it's your destiny. This is what you were born for. You were born to channel this into the material realm. You were born to be a conduit for this reality. So instead of like trying to push back against this reality being born and using practicality, some of y'all might be Capricorns, using the idea of practicality as a means of, restricting yourself and holding yourself back, and giving yourself an excuse to indulge your self-limiting beliefs, which are ultimately self-sabotaging behaviors. You need to dream as big as you effing can. And don't be concerned if people don't like it. Don't be concerned if you want to be an influencer, for instance. I think that this is the easiest way to talk about this. If you want to be an influencer, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be, if you want to be a public figure, because it's just really easy to talk about this as an example. But this can happen for literally anybody and anything. Don't get it twisted. You could even just want to be the manager at the local Walmart, and you could have people hating on you because you want to be the manager at the local Walmart. Trust and believe. You might be afraid to put yourself out there and to step into that role that you know is for you because you're afraid of being embarrassed. You're afraid that people are going to ask, who do you think you are? You think that you could possibly be an influencer? I know you. I know you. I remember you back in 3rd grade. Who do you think you are? Or look at this joker, posting as if they have a huge following and they only get this amount of likes or whatever. Or this somebody, going back to that Walmart example, you think that you could be the manager at Walmart? You just because you got a little job doesn't mean that you're somebody, doesn't mean that you're this big shot now. Don't why do you feel like you need to work so hard? Who are you trying to prove something to? You think that you're better. These people are lost. They're sick and they're suffering. These people who formed the voices in your head. And going back to this what we talked about of trauma, you may have come from a background, a community where people talked down to you and they did everything in their power to destroy your confidence so that you would not think that you were capable of co-creating a fruitful, fulfilling life. But that is every single one of our birthright, and they had no right to do that to you. However, we have free will, so they did and said what they wanted to. I saw 1644 and I use a 24-hour clock, so I'm seeing this as 444. This might be, it might be your family, or if you live in the same town that your ancestors lived in, or y'all have lived there for generations. It might be people who think oh, I know you. Who do you think that you are? Oh, I know your mom. I knew your grandfather. I knew your great granddaddy, and I know your kids. And whoever you think you are, that's not who you are. Just because things have been done a certain type of way for so long, and including that you were doing things a certain type of way for so long. And I'm hearing compulsive. You may hear about compulsory cis heteronormativity, which is to say you don't know any other type of way, so you just force yourself to operate and express through the cis hetero patriarchal paradigm. But guess what? When we are children, we just are who we are. You know what I mean? Some kids like certain colors and other kids like other colors. And who cares? How dare you put limitations on what a person is allowed to like or who a person is allowed to be? That's not any of our right as human beings, because we're not God. We're not the most high divine creator. I don't care if you are a deity incarnated on earth with godlike power unto mere mortals. I don't care. It's not your right and it's not your job. And you can take that and you can apply that to the people who have tried to project their self-limiting beliefs just because they cannot see beyond what they know to be true. They've tried to project that onto you. But let me tell you something. What I know from this reading, what I know from this energy is that you are somebody who has developed a level of consciousness that is beyond what those people have had access to. And they see that on you, they sense that on you, and it is threatening to them because it's something that they don't know. They're scared. They don't know how to operate from their frontal lobe. All they know how to do is operate from fear, subconscious programming, okay, from their basal ganglia. All they know how to do is to operate from their animal, mammalian instincts. And guess what? That is never going to progress you to a higher standard of living. That's never going to progress you to a higher experience of life, okay? So with that being said, we're rejecting all of that because look what we get. We get obsidian, protect your soul. These people are trying to suffocate you. They're trying to strangle you. They're trying to crush your heart chakra by crushing your throat chakra. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you may have come up in a situation where you didn't get all of your physiological needs met, and maybe you didn't get your safety needs met either. But if you lived in a space where you were able to self-actualize your spirit, your essential self, then it is going to be a lot easier for you to imagine a life where you can find that material fulfillment, because you've experienced the utmost fulfillment emotionally, spiritually, mentally. But we oftentimes think that the most important thing are the physiological needs. It's not either or, one or the other. We now understand in human psychology that Maslow's hierarchy of needs are working together. And really, truly, if you have unconditional love and integrity and support to be the true, authentic version of yourself, it's much more likely that you're going to feel that you have the ability to get all of your other needs met. But if you are constantly being put down and told that you cannot, that you are not, that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, all of that is going to those are going to be the obstacles and the hindrances that are going to keep you from being able to truly co-create a fulfilling life that is sustainable. Literally just wrote about energies trying to step on necks and crush out the soul and saying no, rejecting that. Thank you so much. Exactly. So this is what's going on in the cosmos. It's not any one of us. And I do feel a pressure on my throat chakra as I am speaking this. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause and we're going to do a little bit of energy work on the throat chakra. If you want to receive this, say yes, but you don't have to. What I'm doing right now is grounding us to the earth, the core of the earth, and I'm connecting us to the light realms because I am sensing that there is a sense of not being grounded and not being rooted, and also not feeling safe and connected and expansive. But I did see energies, shadow entities, fear. It's really a manifestation of fear on the throat chakra, and that has to do with our authentic self-expression. And faith that we are really unconditionally loved just for who we are authentically, that the true version of ourselves is unconditionally loved. So I'm going to continue doing that work. A lot of folks right now, you're just like really in your head. You're thinking way too much. You are exhausting yourself. You're burning yourself out with trying to, like, it's a hyper masculine energy of trying to think your way out of this time period, when this is spiritual. There's nothing left for you to do. You just need to relax and let the energies move through you. You just need to, all you need to really focus on is availing yourself of the flow of the divine and allowing this to move you to where you need to go and what you need to do and who you need to be. That's what you really need to be focusing on right now, okay? So I'm clearing that energy out of the crown chakra. These are psyops. These are psyops. You need to, we need to balance this energy out with the feminine. There is a force that is, there's a force, but it's not solely attacking you. It is attacking the collective. It is psychological warfare. So some folks, you need to de-escalate by, taking several steps back from social media. You are being activated too much in your mind and your mental space, and you need to let that go. You might be watching too much of the news, tuning into the news too much, and it is demoralizing you. You might be looking, actually, what I'm picking up is some of you, you're looking way too much at what other people have going on. You're comparing and contrasting what other people have and what you don't have. You're comparing and contrasting yourself to your higher self, to the future version of yourself. So let's try and tap in with your higher self. That's you. Clearly, you already know what you had to do to get there. So tap into that consciousness and ask them what you got to do in this moment right now for you to get to where they are. Ask them for the wisdom. Ask them for the clarity. Ask them for the advice. When you are calling in these energies, entities, expressions of existence, deities, ask very clearly and specifically what it is that you need from them. Oh, I'm calling in Christ Yeshua. Oh, I'm calling in Kuan Yin, but for what though? What do you need from them? What are you asking for? Grace, companionship, support, clarity, these things, okay? Channeling the living waters. Some of you really need to tap into Christ consciousness. So I am inviting Kuan Yin and Christ Yeshua in. I am inviting the crystalline living waters in, and the Christ collective. I am inviting them in. I am inviting water energy in. Some of y'all are parched emotionally, energetically, and spiritually because you're not allowing yourself to feel your feelings. 27 on the timer. You're not allowing yourself to feel your feelings because you're afraid that if you do, you're going to be outside of your power. No, what we need is more of the feminine, which means we need to be more vulnerable and be in a safe container. You're afraid of being vulnerable because you've been vulnerable with the wrong folks. They were unsafe. You didn't trust your intuition when it told you not to connect with them, and you kept trying to anyway. We're not doing that anymore. I'm not shaming you, but you know better and you need to do better. If you're not willing to live in your power, how are you supposed to manifest a life based on your power? Let's be real. You got to make that make sense. You can't, because it doesn't. You're afraid of being powerful. You want to be meek and mild, but the way that meekness has been portrayed to you is wrong. It's wrong. And I want to also say some of you are letting people into your business way too much. You need to shut that down. Okay? So let's tap into this energy. We're calling in the living waters. We're calling in the crystalline waters. Speak out loud what it is that you've been struggling with, what it is you're afraid to admit. I'm afraid I'm not good enough. That's what it is. That's what's choking you up, is this fear that you're not good enough, that you don't want to admit to. I'm clearing the ear chakras. The ear chakras are stopped up too. You don't want to hear what it is you have to do because you're afraid of letting go of who you've been and where you've been. You're identifying way too much with the old timelines. You're identifying way too much. Folks need to take a cleansing bath, cleansing shower with some sea salt. Okay? Stop smoking. Someone needs to stop smoking. It's clouding your judgment. It's clouding your mind. Cigarettes, cannabis, vaping, whatever it is, you are clouding your throat chakra. You are clouding your ear chakras. Your entire sinus system is congested. And it's because of the smoking. You can't breathe clearly to channel your energies. You need to be doing more meditation. You need to be channeling your breath more consciously and breathing into your heart chakra. So we're going to do some of that now. Feel free to share in the chat anything that might be coming up for you, anything that you may be seeing, because I see us tapping into the collective heart chakra, which we did a lot of healing on a few months ago, back in October through December. I personally know that I was doing a lot of healing work on the collective heart. So we're tapping into that now. Tell the truth. You've been blocking this consciousness upgrade by refusing to speak on certain things that happen to you because you're ashamed. Opal, feel all your feels. Blooming passion flower. Ooh, yes. I'm picking up something about passion flower. I want to say that I think that I'm picking up something about relating it to the throat chakra in a tea blend that I have. Throat and heart chakra cleansing. But we get feel all your feels with Opal. How do you expect to live your best life if you're not being your best self, because you're protecting your perpetrators, you're protecting your abusers? They projected their shame and made you responsible for it. They projected it onto you and made you responsible for it. You're not responsible for that. I cast it out. Use your authority to cast that sickness, that demon out. That entity, that energy of shame. Shame has its place, but it's been weaponized and it has been misused and it is now maladapted. You need to cast it out. Send it back to where it came from, using your authority. And also just know that when you speak in your authority, you are the sovereign of your energy. So when you speak in your authority over yourself, it has no choice but to do it. So even if you're like, oh God, what if it doesn't work? It doesn't matter if you think that, because it's going to. It has no choice but to. You remind yourself of that. I remind myself all the time when I'm doing conscious spell work on myself. It doesn't matter if I believe it. It's destined to be so. I said it, so it is going to be true to some extent, 3311. So it doesn't matter if I don't believe it. It is what it is. It's still going to manifest whether or not I believe it, or whether or not I have some doubts. And folks need to start understanding we live in a spectral universe. Energy exists on a spectrum. So it doesn't matter if I don't believe 20%, if I still believe 80%. Having doubts is natural. I said what I said exactly. I said what I said. If I believe 80%, that outshines the 20%. And if I say it and I only even believe 10%, a mustard seed of faith is all you need. but you don't even need to have faith. Say it and see what happens. These are the principles of vibration. Our vocal cords are producing a vibration that is put out into the material realm. It's put out into the ethers, which permeates the universe. These are this is the energy through which these vibrations move, causing this ripple effect that brings something back to us. You will find that some things are very light in density and they can come real quick, 3443. Mirroring, they'll come real quick. And other things, it takes a little bit longer. I already feel a lightness. Okay? Some of you are starting to understand. People have put way too much, like, the spiritual community that is decontextualized from indigenous ways, the old ways, the ancestral ways. They've put this capitalistic idea onto you, this colonial idea onto you, that's put way too much pressure on you in terms of your manifestation. We're co-creating alongside a universe that has laws and principles that we cannot override or overrule. Mind you, there's 8 billion other people on the planet who are also co-creators. Be serious, be for real. We're not doing that narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic, cluster B type stuff over here. We're a co-creator. You're a master of you. Or you're mastering you. You're sovereign, but I'm not anyone else's. Folks got free will. So I already sense this lightness in the feminine channels that's coming up. Okay, there's a little child in the collective that has had too much pressure put upon them from a young age. Copper is out here in the reverse. Energize your whole world. You have had too much pressure on you, and you're still bringing that to the fore. Let that little child rest. Put them to bed. Put them to bed permanently. You're the adult. You tell them, hey, listen, you actually don't have as much power as you think that you do. You're not in charge. You're not in control. And that's a good thing. It's time for you to rest. And we're going to do something fun for you now. Maybe that's coloring. Maybe that's frolicking in a field. For me, it's frolicking in a field. For me, actually, it's frolicking through the forest and like finding a stream to muck about in for hours at a time. That's what me and my inner child like to do. But circumstances being what they are, it might just be coloring. It might just be watching a funny show. It might just be singing. A lot of you need to start singing. Just don't even care if it sounds good. Just sing at the top of your lungs, whatever you want to sing. Because you have energies that are caught up in your throat chakra. Hum. Just hum and let your throat go wherever it needs to go. Whatever sounds you need to make. You have that's too much caught up in your energy. And part of this is because you're transmuting the energy for a collective. And that's heavy work. Okay? But you need to allow yourself to do this work with the garnet at the bottom of the deck here and open up your love channel with kunzite. Like I said, if you're too afraid to feel, how are you supposed to experience love? You want love, but you don't want to love. You want to be vulnerable, but you don't want to be vulnerable. You have to take the risk. You have to be courageous and brave. And those who shame you, you got to push back against that. You got to have the bravery to be like, excuse me, we're not doing that. I had to get to that place where people would try and tell me, advice or come for me. And I'd have to just be like, excuse me, I didn't ask you. I'm not accepting feedback right now. Or people would try to project their maladaptive, not trauma-informed insights onto me. And I would have to be like, actually, that's not true. That's not how trauma works. and I need to do this thing because that's actually how psychology and human psychology and biology works. So thank you very much for your concern. I know that you're speaking out of care, but you're actually speaking out of turn and speaking out of line, and this is inappropriate, and I'm not comfortable with this. You have to have boundaries. You have to speak up for yourself. Some of you are speaking up too much to the wrong people. Let that man go. They're not right for you. It's not your job to teach this person. It's not. Aren't you tired of trying to raise grown-ass adults? You didn't birth that person, so why is it your job? It's their job. It's their job. It's their mama's job. It's their daddy's job. It's not your job, though. And you're expending way too much energy that should be going to your bliss. You know, a few years ago, back in 2021, I channeled that 2021 was about the frequency of joy. What I'm channeling for this next cycle is bliss, maximizing your bliss. Some of you are so horny. Some of you, yeah, like your libido, like you are repressed. I think some of you have some trauma around here, so I'm going to do some meditation and some energy work on the sacral chakra because I felt a clench there, 40-40 on the timer. You're putting too much pressure on your love and S life. You're obsessed, and it's actually keeping you from coming into alignment with whatever it is you're meant to be experiencing. This goes for if you are coupled or not. What I want you to do is just in your seat right now, sit down and really feel into the support wherever your body is on a solid foundation, your back against the back of your chair, your bottom against the seat that you're in. Obviously not if you're driving, but you know, wherever you are, your feet against the bottom, like really feel into that support. Really relax into that support. And as you take your inhalations, as you take your breaths in, breathe in lightness, peace, serenity, and exhale into the support, grounding anything that has to leave you in order for you to embody that energy that you're breathing in, okay? If you feel like a live wire type energy, that's because you are being electrically activated. It might not be tension, it just might be like electricity. You might want to imagine that energy going to the core of the earth because Mother Earth Gaia is the alchemist, and she is going to take that in her fiery depths and transmute that. You don't have to worry about that. Oh my goodness, this cat is coming in here and scared the bejeebies out of me. Welcome in that support. Welcome in that grace. Sam T, negative people all around. That's okay. That's okay. We're going to talk a little bit. I'm going to address that a little bit because I feel you, Sam T. 4334 on the timer, and we also had 333 on the timer. Sorry, and I also need to like reset because that made my heart jump. We're breathing in clarity. That's what I want to invite you to breathe in, is clarity. and clarification. Breathe out density, any. All right, give me a second. Okay, that may not even have been the cat. I don't know what that was, but we're doing some big work here. We're doing some big clarification work. Negative people all around. We understand in cosmic wellness, which is the spiritual practice that I am 443322, that I am pioneering here in the Aetherium. It is a spiritual practice that is built upon shadow work. Our shadow work practice is called spiritual abolition because we are abolishing the chains, the spiritual slavery, the enmeshment, and the cycles, these karmic cycles that we've been locked into. We're abolishing all of that through this shadow work practice, and we are getting free mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so in cosmic wellness, we understand that we are the sovereign of ourselves. Even if you are the oversoul of a collective, in the 3D, folks have free will. So being the oversoul, being the head of a collective, having that higher rank and that higher consciousness, you do the work on you, and that channels down to your collective, ethereally, spiritually. But they have the choice to act out of alignment with that. So we can't control anybody except for ourselves. The only thing that we have control over is our actions. We cannot control our feelings. 555 on the timer, 4556 on the timer as well. We can only control our actions. We can't control our feelings. Otherwise, we likely wouldn't be here doing what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, if I could control my feelings, my life would be so different. But our bodies are in a lot of ways a power greater than us. There's a precognitive awareness, and we need to start seeing our feelings as messengers. But we try to override our feelings instead of mastering our feelings. Mastery is working alongside, it's working with, not overpowering. And that idea of dominance comes from this colonial structure that is about dominating and subjugating and being better than and different from and abusing and exploiting. But we know spiritually that that's not the spiritual reality. We are one with the universe. We are one with the collective. The idea of the collective presupposes the individual. For there to be even an idea, an understanding, a conception of an individual, there must first be a collective. Okay, so we have to understand that your ability to become a masterful co-creator and to become a sovereign is contingent upon understanding that. And this is not the time where, usually I feel like this is the time where some folks might start shaming you and be like, oh, it's because of your energy, you're allowing these, your energy is off, and you're attracting these kinds of folks. This is not the time that we're going to do that here. What it really comes down to is there might be karmic cycles that we are stuck in, but also some of us have a really big anointing and a really big calling, and our job, our spiritual duty, our spiritual mission and assignment might have us around folks who are very sick. I want to invite folks to start thinking about adversarial people, harmful people, people that we deem negative, that we feel are haters, that we see as shaitan, demonic, this, that, and the other. Folks who are asleep, folks who are harmful, they're sick. Do remember, cluster B personalities, that's a personality disorder. Using the DSM-5, we now see that these people have a disease, they have a disorder, they are sick. And perhaps when we start seeing people as being sick and unwell, we might be able to have empathy for them. And when we see our own deficits, our own maladaptive coping mechanisms and behaviors as a part of our own manner of sickness and expression of unwellness within ourselves, maybe we can have some compassion for ourselves too. Because a lot of people are walking around right now with untreated, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. If you grew up experiencing poverty, if you grew up experiencing not getting your physiological needs met, emotional needs met, intellectual stimulation as well, if you grew up with, maybe you did have enough to eat and you did have stability financially, but you were neglected, you have PTSD, because that is trauma. And like that, if that's going untreated, 49 on the timer, and you're still acting from the subconscious programming that you developed in that time, you are also enacting your own unwellness. And some of us, thankfully, you know what, some of us are more blessed that like we are not creating as much harm for others, but we might be creating the most harm for ourselves. But understand, like I said, we're part of a collective, we're part of the universe, we are a thread in this fabric of existence. You understand? Thank you. We are a thread in this fabric of existence. And it does affect our collective, because if someone really truly loves you, they don't want to see you harming yourself. They don't want to see you taking out your self-hatred or your anger or your aggression for the way that things are on yourself. They don't want to see that 50-50. They want to see you thriving and well if they truly love you unconditionally. So I want folks to start thinking about that. You know, when you are exhibiting maladaptive, toxic behaviors, whether they are towards others or to yourself, are people around you who claim to love you, who claim to bang with you, who claim to be on your side, on your team, are they holding you accountable? Are they reflecting that back to you in a loving way? Because when I was out there ripping and running and destroying myself with untreated substance use disorder, when I was out there self-medicating with substances instead of getting the proper help that I needed to deal with my CPTSD, to deal with my ASD, to deal with my ADHD, when I was out there doing all of that nonsense, it was a very small handful, maybe even 2 or 3 people who lovingly said to me, "V, like, you can't continue doing this. You're harming yourself." Because they cared about me, they checked me. They weren't afraid to tell me the truth. Like, listen, I know that I might party a lot and I might do a lot, but like, you're getting into trouble. And you really need to rethink 222 on the timer. You really need to think about how you are living. And it wasn't to shame me, because people who love you unconditionally are not trying to shame you. They're trying to help you because they want what's best for you. And they want to see you be your best. And they want to see you live a fulfilling life. They don't want to see you wake up in a ditch or not wake up at all. They don't want to see you in toxic relationships with people who don't appreciate you, who don't treat you right. They don't want to see you in dead-end jobs where you're not making ends meet. They don't want to see that for you. But guess who does want to see that for you? Your enablers. The people who feed into our sickness and our BS. Why? Because misery loves company. The people who are like, oh, well, everybody does that. Those are the people who, when I got sober, they started treating me real different. Frankly, 5333 on the timer, 5335 on the timer. Frankly, they started treating me real shady and disrespectful. When I got back in school to finish my degree, they started acting real shady. They were not happy for me When I got a job that paid me more than any other job that I had ever been paid, they did not like that. But they definitely, when they found out that that job was toxic and abusive, they definitely encouraged me to stay in it, or they did not have any compassionate words to share with me when I was hurting. So you got to think about the relationships that you're feeding into, pouring your energy into, because it's a reciprocal circuit. You know what I mean? You keep pouring into that relationship with an energy vampire or somebody who's operating at a deficit compared to you. Yeah, they're going to keep coming back for more. Especially if you're somebody who overplays your role when you start to notice people rejecting you and treating you wrong, which a lot of folks who are survivors of narcissistic abuse tend to do. 54 on the timer. You need to be finding your equals. And it's not material equals. It's people who share your vision and share your ethics and your principles and your values and share your will to meet those, to adhere to those, to walk in your integrity. If people are not willing to do what it takes to be unconditionally loving, at least towards themselves, there's nothing that me and that person can do together. You know, we can have small talk, but I cannot try to create 55-44 on the timer. I cannot try to create an intimate partnership with them in any capacity, whether platonic, romantic, familial. I can't have an intimate relationship. I can't be vulnerable with that person because we are creating different things from different places and spaces. And it's just going to drain me. And it's just going to disappoint me. And it's going to harm me. But you know something? I know that intuitively, I can sense that they're not on the path that I am. And also the red flags. They're gossiping about other folks from a hateful perspective. It's not solutions oriented. Oh, I'm telling you what happened. And yes, I'm getting heated and I'm expressing my pain and my anger and my frustration, but it is solutions oriented. And I'm not, I'm not spiritually assassinating somebody behind their back. That's a whole different story. But if you see people who are assassinating other people's character through gossip, it's a wrap. And then if you continue to engage with them and they do that to you and they betray you when you knew that they were that kind of person, you really can't sit here and genuinely act like you're surprised because you knew who they were. Just like that saying goes, you can find a snake and nurse it that is sick and nurse it back to health. And the moment that it then bites you and poisons you and you ask it, why did you do this? I loved you. I took care of you. I nursed you back to health. Bitch, you knew I was a snake when you found me. You knew I was a snake when you found me. Maybe you just let that go. You know what I mean? We have to be willing. Sometimes we're so loving, unconditionally loving, but it's not unconditional love because we're not loving on ourselves. And it's a maladapted, sick, unwell, traumatized form of compassion where it's like, I see that this person is sick and unwell and, that they're causing harm to others and they just seem to be incapable of stopping. But I am unconditionally loving and I'm a good person. So I'm going to stay by their side. I'm a ride or die. I'm so loyal. This makes me such a good person. You have to have some self-respect and dignity enough to love yourself first and keep yourself safe, because you're constantly going to be in a state of peril and at a deficit if you continue to allow yourself to be drained and harmed by these kinds of characters. I see that person is sick and suffering and hurting. And I understand that they have all this trauma in their background. But you know what? I also know that that's not actually an excuse. That's a reason why they may do the things that they do, but that's not an excuse, because there is no excuse for causing harm in this way. I also see that they're not willing to be accountable and to change. I don't want to experience betrayal. I don't want people gossiping about me. I don't want to be the victim of, I don't want to be victimized by this kind of character. I don't want to deal with this. I know where this leads. You play the tape forward. I know where this is going because I've been here too many times before, because it's a karmic situation. So my karmic behavior would have been to continue staying in that circuit and then end up victimized and end up, at rock bottom, sad and desperate and confused and spinning out. But the self-sovereign me, I can't control my emotions. Dang, this really sucks. I really loved this person. I thought that was my friend. I never wanted this relationship to end, frankly. But I see who this person is now. They're not happy for me when good things happen to me. And I'm not going to be able to co-create even more joyous situations in my life and experiences in my life as long as this person is in my life. I just won't be able to. 144. Because that's not how the universe works. So, I love this person, but I accept them for who they are. They've shown me who they are and who they're willing to be. They're not willing to change. Not right now, at least. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but right now I see, I see what it is for what it is. And I can't in good faith stay in a relationship with this person. So I'm going to have to just cut that off. And they may not like that, but so what? It's none of my business. The first cut is the deepest. The first time that you do this, it's going to hurt so badly. It's hard the first time to do the opposite action of what your karmic behavior that was keeping you safe at a certain point in time. Once you stop perpetuating that cycle, it's really tough. And it might feel like life or death, just like I said in the beginning of this session. But the more that you do it, the less foreign it feels, and it starts to become first nature. I used to be so afraid to advocate for myself that I would even let people cut me online. But then in 2015, I instituted this practice with myself where I would, I had to do 3 things that scared me every day. And this didn't have to be like base jumping or picking up spiders or any of that kind of stuff. It didn't have to be facing my phobia head on. Hello. It could be, when someone cuts me online saying, excuse me, but the line, I'm actually ahead of you online. The line's back that way. And yeah, sometimes people will be like, actually, I was here. I've been at the post office and had people go like, I'm not supposed to be online. I was already here. I'm supposed to come to the front. And I'll be like, okay, no problem. I didn't know that. Sorry about that. Thanks for clearing that up. And it just is what it is, because their freak out has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. They're upset about what's going on in their life with the post office. They're not upset at me. 0330. So there's mirroring. But we got to learn how to not claim what isn't ours. Like I said, each and every single one of us is co-creating the universe. So you might have someone in your life who's constantly in chaos and drama. And they bring that to you. and they're always calling you and something terrible is always happening and you feel responsible to help them figure it out. But the moment that you stop being codependent and realize that you are your own sovereign and they are their own sovereign, and that you're only responsible for your universe, that's your life, and actually each of us is a multiverse because each of our chakras is a universe unto itself. Once you realize that you only have to be accountable to your actions, when they start calling you with all of their problems, maybe you don't have to answer the phone 432 on the timer. Maybe you don't actually have to answer the phone. Maybe if this person cannot stop, they're overflowing with chaos and it's coming into your, it's coming onto your side of the street. Think of it this way. Y'all are, you have one side of the street and they have their side of the street. And they just are a hoarder. And they're hoarding their trash, their newspapers, their boxes are moving. They're just overflowing from their side of the street onto your side of the street. And you've been cleaning it off, but it just keeps on overflowing. Maybe you need to move. Maybe you need to move to a new street with new neighbors who don't act like that. That's a metaphor, okay? Maybe you don't need to be in a relationship. I'm going to come to this. I'm just going to finish this thought. Maybe you don't need to be in an active relationship with somebody who actively is contributing to a poor quality of life for you. I had to go no contact with people who I love truly and deeply, but they were ruining my life because I didn't have any chaos and drama in my life. But every time they called me, I was stressed out. I was crying. I was like, I could not find peace when I was in relation to these people because every day was something different. And I don't think that if I had stayed in relation to these people, I don't know if I would have been able to graduate university. You know, my money was so messed up because I was being drained of my energy from these people and also being drained of money from these people. But now I don't engage with them anymore and I don't have that kind of constant chaos and drama in my life. That's their universe. I had to stop claiming their chaos and drama. I had to stop over-identifying with what they had going on. That's their universe. They are not mirroring me in that way. Maybe the mirror that they are, what they're mirroring back to me is my need for boundaries and standards. It's not always a 1-for-1. You feel me? I have to let go of my troubled pregnant niece. I'm sending you so much love, 𝗪𝗪𝗀, because yeah, it's usually our karmic family members that we have to let go of. But listen, I was so resentful towards them. I was beginning to hate them. But now that I don't engage with them, I can love them from afar. I have to know where to position them so that I can continue to love them. And if I am committed to unconditional love, then I have to do whatever I have to do to make sure that I'm always channeling that unconditional love. Because otherwise, I'm also going to harm them. Okay? 𝗪𝗁𝘁 said, I need to know my husband DDS is recently incarcerated and is acting different. Is he talking to or visiting other females in a cheating way? So Martha, that's not really what we're doing here, but I'm going to say to you, if you think, because this actually feeds directly into what I'm talking about, if you can't trust him to not cheat on you, I don't think that this is the relationship for you. If he has a history of cheating on you, you should leave him. You don't need to stay down for somebody and be loyal to someone who's not loyal to you. You don't owe him anything. You know what I mean? And you might very well have something better for you waiting on the other side of this relationship. But you're busy investing into this relationship with somebody who clearly is not good for you. I think that, yeah, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but, it can be nothing is bad or good. It's both. It might suck that like you have to hear this, but it's never too late to turn your life around. It's never too late to find relationships with people who are actually going to love and respect and cherish you. And each and every single one of us deserves that. You know what I mean? Because some people bring out the worst in us. It's never too late to start again. If you feel like this person is not able to show up for you, if you feel like this person is not able to be loyal to you, you deserve so much better than that. And you have to ask yourself, why am I putting up with this? What is it about me? What happened to me that made me feel like I don't deserve respect? And you got to go back to that original hurt, and you got to heal that original hurt, because Martha, every single one of us deserves unconditional love and respect. You might not like me, but you will respect me. And cheating on me, deceiving me, playing in my face, humiliating me, that's not respecting me. And you know, something I channeled today is like, a lot of us, the kind of abusive things that we experienced in our childhoods or in some of our romantic relationships, which might be a continuation from our childhood, those are humiliation rituals that we were put through. And it's a powers and principalities type thing, where because these people were so lacking self-possession and so lacking self-sovereignty, they were able to be used as a vessel by a higher consciousness being to put us through these humiliation rituals, so that we wouldn't be able to, or so that it would be harder for us to access our power. And I'm going to pause right now, 111 on the timer. I'm going to pause right now, channeling, and I'm going to do some energy work to remove that from us. So stick with me. Like I said before, when I start doing the energy work, just relax into your support, whatever you're sitting on, whatever you're laying on, really feel into that and take in these deep breaths, breathing in clarity and breathing out density, breathing in light, like not physical light, but lightness of density, and breathing out density. Okay, so we're going to do some energy work here, because I get this feeling of shame and like pressure in my throat, things you wanted to cry about, but maybe you were told you weren't allowed to cry, or you didn't want to cry because you didn't want them to see how they affected you. We're gonna dissolve that energy now. It's also been keeping you from standing in your sovereignty. It's been keeping you from having a healthy relationship to the Most High Divine Creator, because you blame God for why you had to go through these things. But that wasn't God. That was people's free will choice to do what they did. However, God, the Creator, your higher power, whatever you want to call it, they showed up and kept you alive through the angels who came into your life and made you laugh. This is why you got to create your art and put it out there. You have to do that show, write that book, post that post. You don't know whose life it's going to save. It may be a stupid meme and you don't know why you want to send it to somebody, but you send that because the Most High, the unconditionally loving source is working through you to bring somebody something that's life-saving, and you don't even know the gravity of what that is. When I used to be out at parties and I would just get a hankering to talk to a girl online for the bathroom because I was drunk, and that's how we do when we're online for the bathroom. You have no idea how many times those people would tell me, you might not remember me, but we met at this event, we met at this venue, and you just talked to me and you saved my life that night. Stop worrying so much about how people are going to perceive you, who are your haters, your detractors, those negative ass people who don't want good in the world. They just want to be miserable because they are just vessels. They have no sovereignty. We don't need to concern ourselves with them. God bless them, but I don't respect the way that you live, so I'm not concerned about your opinion. You gotta let the divine move through you so that you can come into union with your divine counterpart. So let's do this work. Mind control entities being purged and cleared. Emotional abuse being purged and cleared. Physical memory of physical assault being shaken out and released and removed. You have a lot of anger that you need to get out of you. You need to speak on what made you angry. If you need to scream, you need to scream, okay? But that's why you're having so much phlegm and mucus in your body. Some of you are constantly dehydrated. It's because you're so angry. You're holding on to so much anger from your childhood. Folks, we can book one-on-one oracle healing sessions. You just have to email me. My email is in the description box below. And I'm also working on a workbook to get out to y'all. That'll be available through Etsy. For right now, you can email me about the 𝗪𝗠 workbook, but that will also really help, especially if a one-on-one reading is inaccessible, or a one-on-one oracle healing session. So let's get back into this. You're in a crystalline chamber with the crystalline living waters. And you just really need to spiritual bath, be cleansing regularly. Heart chakra. They wanted to block you from being able to connect with the Most High, so I'm pulling out those blockages and those energies. You couldn't hear the voice of the Creator because of how blocked off you were in your ear chakras. Stabbed in the back, betrayal. A lot of this betrayal is because of parents and authority figures who did not show up for you and who misused their authority and abused their power. Teachers, some of you had teachers who, trigger warning here, and I'm going to flash my hands like this after I'm done because it does have to do with essay. Trigger warning for essay. You may have had teachers, also maybe even cousins, who were sexually inappropriate with you, who SA'd you, who groomed you. And that part of you, especially a teenager, I'm picking up a teenager, you're a teacher, or I'm picking up a teacher, maybe a guidance counselor, was grooming you and had an emotionally inappropriate and frankly sexually inappropriate relationship with you, but it didn't manifest in physical touching perhaps, so you gaslight yourself about it. You don't want to tell people. You need to speak on it. You need to speak it out. And if you're looking for a resource, you can comment down below 321, and I will reach out to comment down below 321, and I will reach out to you via whatever messaging is on here to connect with you some resources, or you can email me and I will send you resources for free that can help you to do this shadow work around this kind of experience, okay? But some of you, yeah, it was this kind of covert I, INC, EST, you will relationships being put into inappropriate kinds of dynamics with specifically adults when you were still underage. A lot of that, a lot of that. And you think just because it wasn't physical means that that trauma isn't real, but it is. And this is what, I can do the energy work, but as it surfaces and as it's cleared out, you're going to need someone to walk with you and hold your hand through that. And yes, I can do that in session and in self-sovereignty advising, but I'm going to encourage you to also use these free resources that I can send you. So please feel free to email me or comment down below. But to respect your privacy, I would encourage you to just shoot me an email. A lot of you have developed a very defensive identity or character. You might be very iconoclastic. You might be very aggressive, especially with your 𝗔𝗀𝗍. And this is a trauma response, and it's time for you to let that go. I shook my head there. There are parts of you who are not ready to let that go. It can be a slow process. You just need to commit to starting the process, okay? Maybe that looks like saying in the mirror what happened to you and acknowledging that it was wrong and you did not deserve that, because no one deserves that. And in no way are you responsible, especially if you were a child. Especially if you were a child. Who am I going to be if I'm not this character? You're going to be yourself. You're going to be your true authentic self, and you're going to be free. Because as long as you continue to be this trauma response version of you, you are trapped in karmic prison, okay? And that's not what we're doing here in spiritual abolition. Your birthright is liberation, okay? Drink some water if this is getting particularly heavy. But it is clearing out of the root and sacral chakra. It's clearing out. Archangel Hadriel is here. An archangel that starts with a Z. Zoroaster I'm hearing. But Jophiel is here. I'm seeing Anubis. Oh, Hecate. Hecate is here. Protector of the crossroads. When you finally let go of those traumatized versions of yourself, you're not going to have to be so defensive. You're not going to have to keep your arms up. You're going to be able to be vulnerable. And you might be tired all the time, and it's because you're carrying around this burden. You're carrying around this identity that is not true to who you are. So you're constantly stressed out. Your nervous system is overworked. This is my Lilith collective. A lot of you are being guided by the higher self of Lilith, the higher representation of Lilith. If this is part of the work that you do to make money and you're afraid of losing that, trust that you're going to be taken care of. Some of you have trouble sleeping because of this. Some of you may be someone who is abusive to people who love and care about you. You might be somebody, and this is a stigma-free zone, but you might be somebody who has been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. There is healing. And you don't have to you don't have to continue showing up from a hurt place, an untreated place, a traumatized place, okay? And you might be feeling so much shame about the way that you've hurt people and ultimately hurt yourself, but there is healing, okay? You can cry. I feel that. You might be feeling so much shame about the way that you hurt others. If you're truly sorry and you take accountability and you atone, you will get free. And that's what cosmic wellness is about. That's what spiritual abolition is about. And we can talk through that in a one-on-one session. But for right now, I'm going to keep clearing this energy. There's a knot in your heart space. You don't want to let people in because you're afraid that you're going to hurt them. Some of you, it's because you were so powerful and you never learned how to wield your powers, and you caused harm because you didn't know how to not. You didn't have mastery, and that's par for the course. That's natural. So it's time for you to start forgiving yourself. Hiding from your powers, lying to yourself about them, pretending you don't have them, not using them, that's not going to help. The only thing that you can do to ensure that you don't do that anymore is to master your gifts. And you start by admitting that you have them. Say it out right now. Yep, the bow is breaking. The bow is breaking. Release. Yep. Promise yourself that you are committing to living in your authentic truth and honoring your God-given powers. This is not evil. This is not demonic. You have a sacred, divine mission, and you have the gifts necessary to carry that out. God anointed you. The Most High put you here and prepared you. You are not bad. You are not evil. You are not wrong. I'm calling in the Holy Spirit to release. And I want you to, using all of your authority, say, I release this. You can say it out loud or in your head, but just declare the releasing of these energies, releasing this stagnation, releasing this pattern, releasing all of these energies, entities, and expressions of existence that relate to it in any capacity across all of quantum space-time and all space-time directions, dimensions, and densities. Declare your liberation. I declare your liberation. Declare your freedom. Hecate is offering her protection, and Anubis is offering up his protection. shut down all throughways through which any of these energies, entities, expressions of existence may have come through, will ever come through in all dimensions, densities, and directions. We're shutting down any access, any portals, any means of getting to you. We're shutting it down. We're sealing it off permanently, henceforth, forevermore, in each and every single dimension, density, and direction, quantum physically. I just saw like spiders, bunches of spiders, big spiders, leave the root chakra and the sacral. Calling in the unicorns for support, clarification, healing, transformation. Activating your wings. Calling in gold from the light realms, gold to flush out any and all non-resonant energies, entities, expressions of existence, all non-resonant densities. So we're filling our aura with that. Deep breaths. Karmic lineage transmutation. The DNA shift is happening from your root, your sacral, and your Muladhara, your 𝗪𝗏𝗃. What is this called? Solar plexus. Grounding into the Earth Star chakra. Ooh. Been afraid to be in your body for far too long. You've been at war with your body for far too long. We're shaking off all of those projections. I rebuke these rejections. I reject these projections. We no longer are claiming that. Remember, we speak with authority over ourselves. I do not claim. I reject. Speak in the affirmative. I reject these projections. I reject these projections. I release these projections. I stand in the glory and power of my divine essential expression. You might feel yourself vibrating, rocking back and forth. This is because we are really getting electric. I'm rotating my head on my neck to loosen up those energies and let there be more flow between the upper chakras and the lower chakras. getting them into equilibrium. And we're tapping into higher consciousness, each of us tapping into our own higher selves, but we can do this together by tapping into the collective higher self and availing ourselves of the wisdom that they have to offer, the clarity, the healing, the direction, the comfort, the certainty, the sureness, the security that they have to offer, the guidance that they have to offer, all the way to the Most High Divine Creator. And just let that pour through you. Oh, some serious marine entities are leaving through the lower chakras. They got stuck, especially if you yourself are a mermaid, if you yourself are a light worker from Mintaka, if you yourself are a siren, if you're a crystalline, if you identify as being part of the Christ collective, you are a marine from the crystalline, divine Christ collective. So yes, there has been spiritual warfare by the shadow side during this Piscean age, but we are bringing the light into it, the glory, the living waters flow through us. The living waters flow through us permanently, eternally, clarifying our energy, clarifying each and every energy center, all of our power, our sources of power, all of our being in every dimension, density, and direction is clarified by the living waters. We are free by the authority of the Most High Divine Creator. In the name of the Holy Spirit, we are free, we are whole. We claim our freedom. We reject any projections of servitude. We are clarified and rejecting all slavery timelines, slavery narratives, slavery dynamics. We are free. We are liberated. We shut it down. In ultimate authority and sovereignty, we shut it down. Calling in seraphim light bearers to ensure the ushering out of any and all expressions of existence, energies, entities, expressions of existence that have been attempting to assert dominance over us. They are being ushered out now. They are being forced out now. We are uncrossing all of our energy, all of our throughways, all of our portals, all of our access points are being uncrossed and sealed up with the Holy Spirit, with golden white light, diamond, platinum, crystalline protection being channeled through you to the core of the earth. Release all density. You might feel tingles running through your body or shivers, waves of energy pouring through you. I release this with gentleness, grace, and ease. I release this with gentleness, grace, and ease. I release this. With gentleness, grace, and ease, I release this. Any and all energies, malevolent energies, baneful energies, entities and expressions of existence sent as weapons against me, let them fall down immediately. They work for me, not against me. Let them fall down immediately. They are neutralized, nullified, and voided. In the name of the Christ Collective, in the name of the Most High Divine Creator. Thank you to the great gods, guides, and ancestors facilitating this healing. I release this. Any and all energies, entities, expressions of existence sent as a weapon against me, let it fall down immediately. And I release any and all energy connected to them, any and all timelines connected to them. I release them now, permanently, and seal myself from ever being able to be engaged with by them in all dimensions, densities, and directions, now and forevermore. Okay, family, that went places. I want to thank you for trusting me to do that energy work. I'm going to answer your question, Kiki Law, in a second. But we just received a dragon heart activation. If you see dragon fire and it's been orange or yellow for you, I'm seeing it having been upgraded to white. And you may feel really high vibrational right now, or for times to come. And just let that ride out. You're going through a purification of these calcified energies, and we're just releasing those. Anytime you feel it come up, I release this. Don't try and fight with it. Don't try and argue with it. Just release it with grace, compassion, kindness, and unconditional love. With ease, I release this. I release this. I release this. And ground it. I am hearing the hounds of Hecate. You are protected in this transformative space. We are giving birth to the golden age of light. So, we are protected by the gatekeepers. We are protected by the holders of the keys, those who rule over the liminal spaces in the spirit realm. You might be thinking, oh, they're dark, they're scary. They're not. They're not. They're the ones doing the real transmutational work. They are the real transmutational masters. Thank you. Thank you, Creator. Thank you, great gods, guides, and ancestors. So you continue facilitating this healing through us. Continue guiding us as to what it is that we need to do with grace, ease, compassion. Carry us to where we need to go and relieve us of what we need to be relieved from. I want to encourage y'all to take a nourishing shower tonight and wash off all of this energy. Drink a lot of water. Eat get a lot of water, electrolyte-rich beverages, electrolyte-rich food, that's melons and fruit and such. Beets are going to be very helpful. Spinach, kale, leafy greens, blueberries, things that are antioxidant rich. Okay, get a lot of that stuff. I'm not seeing carbs so much. Though earlier today I was, but right now we're going to be on that antioxidant wave. And be sure to get a lot of rest. When you lay down, if you can, if this is not harmful for you, lay down flat on your back. 4353, lay down flat on your back and just breathe in and breathe in light, breathe out density. Okay, we did some serious uncrossing work to this evening in the sacral body. So yeah, I'm so grateful. And honestly, I feel like that's everything that Spirit wanted me to communicate. 144 is on the timer right now. The Aetherium is the spiritual sanctuary that I am pioneering the cosmic wellness practice from. It is an unfixed, how do I say this? Realm. This is a realm where 444, where we do this spiritual work. I am an ethereal being, and I tap into the ethers. And so we tap into the ethers here. We tap into other ethereal beings. Ethereal beings, you may have heard them called energies. You may have heard them called divas, DEVA. You may have heard them called elementals. You may have heard them called fairies or fae. So those of us who are incarnate, you might see as elves. And yes, so I do use my ethereal gifts as an ethereal being here in this sanctuary for healing as an oracular aeon. So yeah, I love you all truly and deeply. There is one thing that wants to come out from the Work Your Light Oracle. I do sense that, folks, you might feel scared to trust because of spiritual experiences that have gone awry and because of the spiritual attacks, but that's over now. Soul family in reverse, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. Let go of what is being let go of, and that's why we're releasing. You just have to keep saying, I release this. When you feel anger, contention, confusion, just keep releasing it, because though they may have been your family at one point, but they're not anymore. Mirror who or what is triggering you. Like I said, keep releasing. And I wrote in the title of this, you might feel like you're dying, because you're going through a death rebirth. Okay. And as one of my favorite meditation teachers says, David G., keep on dying to the past. Okay. So that you can continue awakening into your divine future. Pillar of light, your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Okay, you need to trust yourself. We are in this initiation. You just experienced an initiation. So if you were thinking, oh, I'm just a novice, you just got initiated to a higher rank. I have the authority to do that. I come from shamanic lineages on both sides. Star mother, how can you mother yourself? You need to only be feeding energies and relationships with people who nurture you. Okay, because we can't do this alone. We need to lean on others and allow them to help us. They also have keys that we need. So don't be afraid to talk to others. The crumbling in reverse, what are you clinging on to? It's time to let go, and also focus on what you're calling in. And that's not material. It needs to be emotional and spiritual and mental. What am I calling in? Unconditional love. Trust. If I have betrayal timelines that I'm healing from, I need to call in relationships where I can trust people so I can be vulnerable with them. Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. A lot of you are ancient, and this is all, everything's going according to plan. You are protected, you are cared for. Sisterhood of the Rose, and you might be getting a lot of downloads right now. Don't focus too hard to try and get the information, because they're counting on you doing that to confuse you. Just let it flow through you. It will gently become clear. Okay, that's why we're breathing in clarity and breathing out density. Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, teacher, we're here together. I love you all truly and deeply. I really bang with y'all. If you want to book a reading, If you want to book an oracle healing session, if you want to book self-sovereignty advising packages, like I said, go ahead and email me. But I would encourage, I am going to put the link to my Substack newsletter in the bio. And I would encourage y'all to subscribe, because I'm going to be doing I'm rolling out a paid subscription tier where I will be providing so much of this stuff. And you'll be kept abreast about discounts. You'll always have discounted readings with that, but you'll get monthly astral insights, weekly astral insights, regular tarot spread readings, and I will be teaching you all about the things that I have, the mysteries that I have been initiated into, so that you can develop your sovereignty even further. I love you all truly and deeply. I'm sending you so much love. I'm sending you all of your power and energy back, and I am calling mine back to me, and I'm grounding anything that needs to be grounded and neutralized. And there's Twin Flame Collective. Twin Flame Collective. I'm hearing y'all are doubting. Uh-oh. The deck is coming out. I have one more message for the Twin Flame Collective. High Priestess in reverse. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. If you have a telepathic connection with this person, you don't know what is going on in their life on their side of the spectrum. You may be listening to too much outside of yourself. If you are like listening to there's a certain extent to which gurus and experts can help, but they don't know your specific situation because they are doing their work for the mundane collective, and you are extraordinary. So you need to remember that. Okay? You don't know what you're being brought into, and divine counterparts, remember, this is for the Twin Flame Collective and love. If you are partnered and you feel like there's a distance and you feel like there's something confusing going on that you just can't put your finger on, you might not know what's actually going on with this person. But you need to trust your intuition. Page of Cups, you've been here before. Trust your intuition. Go back to all of the lessons that you've already learned. Okay? And let those guide you as to what you need to do next. But I really sense that you don't need to do anything, because it's going to become clear. Don't overthink this. Don't overthink this, because you don't know how much you don't understand how much the energy is changing. I do sense that they might be hitting a blockage. They might be hitting a blockage, a roadblock. And you just need to continue praying for yourself and praying for them. Or they may have in the past hit a roadblock, and you may feel deeply betrayed by them. Like I said, if it's something like cheating, leave them. Seriously, not condoning that. But if this is something where, there's a distance and a space between y'all, a chasm between y'all, and you're really worried because of like betrayal that happened in the past, and they may have stayed stuck on a stage where you progressed. Trust that they're going to get to where they need to go, and you're going to get what you need, even if it means that y'all don't come together or y'all don't stay together in this lifetime. Some of you, the thing that your twin flame needs is for you to leave them, and y'all might get together next lifetime. Don't be so stuck in this material life. You are an eternal being. You don't need to be so worried about what's going on in this little life. This is a blink of an eye in the grand scheme of things. Four of Wands. Yeah, don't try to control the situation. But I do want you to stay in your principles. Stay in your principles, unconditional love and unconditional integrity. Figure out what that means for you. Because you are the sun. You're going to get everything and more, friend. The powers that were working against you, the powers and principalities, they can't They can't anymore. You are the sun. You are the sacred child. You are the child of God. And you're in your power now. If they don't want to step into their power, that's their business. You will find a counterpart for you in this lifetime. So don't hold too strong onto anything right now. Be vulnerable. Even if it hurts, even if it's scary, be vulnerable, because that's the only way. And look, we're getting a lot of major arcana. That's the only way that you can truly manifest your divine counterpart. And in cosmic wellness, in the Aetherium, the divine counterpart is our, it's everything in our life. Everything in our life, not just a romantic partner. So just focus on your healing, which is facilitated through greater vulnerability. Baby steps. It's okay if you just say, today I know I need to work on this. Today I don't have the capacity to do it, but I'm having the willingness to be willing to do it, and stay committed to it. And the willingness will come in, because your Ace of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, the Empress, Justice, everything is coming to you. Everything is coming to you that you've been working towards. A new timeline full of your prosperity is coming. You just need to get through this contentious energy right now, okay? Trust yourself. I love you all truly and deeply. I will see you on the flip side. Happy hunting.